All kind of things that's happened on the Dama Boxan. People in Bande. Gloria, she drink company water, people.
And I also served in my village to my villagers as a nurse working at the health center. I started as a practical nurse, then I did midwifery and MEDEX program.
Oh, you did a MEDEX program? I forgot about that.
Yes, just like Nurse Beard.
Right, right.
She would have been about batch 1 or so because we were batch 10. Mm-hmm.
Yes, she did. Good morning, good morning. This is What the Story Say. And today we have a special guest that will talk to us about love in the village. As you know, this month we're talking about love. So stay tuned and share your views and your thoughts and anything else that is positive about this conversation. So thank you very much. Good morning, Gloria. So how are you doing, girl?
I'm doing okay.
Right. To the viewers here, Buxtonians, this is our very own Gloria Arthur, as we know her. She got married names, but I don't know them names. That is not the
Oh, the
discussion
married name is
today.
Norville.
Norville. Okay, good.
Yes.
So Gloria is our very own from the village of Buxton, Buxton Bagdam side, and Company Road.
Born
So
and bred.
she drink company water, people. So I wanted you to talk about your background because it would shed some light on the things we're going to talk about today.
Okay. I was born and bred in Buxton Village. Born on Buxton Middlewalk Road. 6 o'clock in the morning. My mother couldn't get to the midwife place, so it's on the road of itself. I was delivered in front of this lady. What was her name? My godmother. Um, Olive Andrews, because she was later named my godmother. She was the first one to come out on the road to assist my mother. So I was delivered. It was a Monday morning, 6 o'clock on February 10th. So many long years ago. I grew up in the village. I attended Roman Catholic school as primary. Captain school, I can remember I went as kindergarten. Then after kindergarten, I went to Roman school. After Roman, I went to Smith's College. After Smith's College, I went to County, and that was my school years. I later went on to do my professional training at Georgetown School of Nursing.
Mm-hmm.
Since having been in the nursing program since I started in 1978, I've worked all over Mabaruma Hospital, Soddy Hospital, Bartica Hospital, Matthews Ridge Hospital, all the clinics on the East Coast I've worked, from Mahaica to Pleasance. And Buxton, I've stayed the longest. Buxton and Melanie, I've stayed the longest. After the Ministry of Health position, I was offered a job at Omai, the gold mines.
Mm-hmm.
I went there in 96 and started working there, and I worked there for actually it was 9 years in all. And after then, I migrated to the US. So
Okay.
I am now living in New York, and I try to go home very often. I go like a day, like 2 times a year.
So as you can see, Gloria, you blew me away. I didn't know so many things about you. Girl, you a true to God Buxtonian, you Banner Road, a Buxton
Born on the
Dam.
road.
Let me listen. All kind of things that's happened on the Dama Buxton. People in Bande. Gloria,
and
you, it,
and late and later years on Company Road, one of the many hundreds of deliveries that I would have done as a midwife, I delivered a baby on Company Road of itself. Like it's
there
about
you
three
go.
houses away from me on Company Road. They come to call me because the girl was out on the public road waiting for transportation to go to town. She couldn't make it, so they're bringing her up to the north that is the closest, and she couldn't meet my place. She was like three
Mm-hmm.
houses on the road there. So I was cooking. I had to leave my pot, run out there. They had to get in the front. The lady brought out a sheet and I got some people to hold up to get some privacy. And
Mhm.
I delivered that boy, a baby boy, on the road there. She brought him to see me like five, about 5 or 6 years ago, because my
Mhm.
husband was alive then and we were in Guyana. And she
Mhm.
brought him to see me, and he came to say thank you. I delivered him, and he was about to start UG. So I guess he's
Mhm.
probably graduated. He was going to do the medical program, so he's probably now a doctor. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Gloria, let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that in my head so far. First of all, if you're buying a road, you get fast name buying a dam. Maybe. Because you know boxer people. But it's so
Yes.
interesting that you were born on the road and you were able to help somebody give birth on the wow.
Mm-hmm.
And what I like is that you're a daughter of Buxton and you've made yourself so professional through your schooling and so on. It doesn't matter where you come from Buxton, Bagnam side, Barn on the Road, you are so accomplished. Thank you so much for your service. Girl, I didn't know you walk in the
Okay.
bush.
Oh, I was a bush die.
So when we say bush, for the people who are not Guyanese, she worked in the hinterland. That means she worked in all these
Mm-hmm.
different places that were hard to reach, giving her service as a nurse and a midwife and a medic. And a medic is like what we probably call a physician assistant in America.
Yeah, yeah, right, right.
Right.
And
They
we call
call
it in
themselves
Guyana a barefoot doctor.
precisely
Mhm.
barefoot doctor. And so
Like one time,
like
let me interject with this joke. One
mhm,
time at BV Health Center, this
mhm,
madman, he used to like to come in at the health center and create a havoc. If I'm giving an educational talk, he's gonna come and disrupt and talk in his own story.
mhm.
So he started with me. I was wearing glasses at the time. He said, "Look at she, look how young she is. And she wearing glasses. She don't know but eating pumpkin. Pumpkin does make you
Man, put you in your place.
and you."
Yes. So you were telling me about your family.
Mhm.
Mhm,
Um, my family was small. My mother, Jessie, and I had a sister and a brother. Both of them are now dead.
mhm,
And actually,
mhm,
both of them suffered from a condition called dyslexia, which is a learning disability. My father was George David Arthur, better known
mhm,
or better called Buxton Premier. So I was Buxton Premier's daughter, because as a matter of fact, before I was born, he went in the bush. So when I was
mhm,
born, he was in the bush. I was born in February. He got a shout like close to March, like February
mhm.
month end. They claimed that I brought that luck for him. So
Oh.
when he came back to Buxton, he came back as one of the richest men in Buxton. So
Mhm.
at one time we had two cars, a private
Wow.
car and a car. And my brother and sister, even though they were not his children, he treated
Mhm,
all three of us like his,
mhm,
and we were all together and we would look out for each other. Mm.
mhm,
If in school I'm in a fight, even in a smaller class, my bigger sister, she was in a bigger class, she would come down and create havoc.
mhm.
Nobody
That's
would should touch her
that's
sister.
Jylin. Jylin.
Darling, yeah. Well, the only disability is that she didn't have learning or an education, right?
Mhm,
The only thing she could have done educationally wise is that she can write her name. If she sees her name, she knows that is her name. Nothing else.
mhm,
She wouldn't know if she see Gloria, she wouldn't know that is Gloria, right?
mhm,
She can count a little, maybe like 1 to 10.
mhm,
So she was a little better off than Dasley, right?
mhm,
He knew his name too. He could have written his name, right? But that is all.
mhm,
So both of them were at that level. So with that growing up, we knew that you had to be there for them, and this is
mhm,
what my mother was actually worried about. That when she's
mhm,
not around, who will take care of them? And this was our constant question.
So they both
But
suffered from dyslexia, you said.
yes, the learning
Right.
disability.
Yeah.
Otherwise than the learning disability, they
hmm
adjusted to society and the norms of society. They wouldn't do anything, like walk the streets or that kind of thing.
hmm
So that was is only a learning disability. They can wash
hmm
it themselves. Um, Dazzly, you can get him. Oh, grate a coconut for me.
hmm
Go pick two mango for me. Like put in this curry.
hmm
That kind of thing. And he can wash his clothes himself. He knows about washing and washes very clean. He knows that when he goes to the bathroom, when he's out from the bathroom, he goes to the pipe, wash his hands,
hmm
right? So all of that, they were well oriented to. It was
Yeah.
only the learning.
So you told me the story of Dasley and the soap when he washing. Can you tell the people when he washing his clothes?
But what you give Dasley one cake of soap, and he probably got like two shirts to wash and one pants. And when
hmm
he's done, if you see that little piece of soap from that big thick cake of soap, that soap, because he would go on that, he put the clothes on the scrubbing board, and he
hmm
rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, and he had a lot of energy, and he would
Yeah.
rub and rub.
Till he finished the soap.
So his clothes he could have washed very, very clean.
hmm Thank you so much. Um, so you said Joylyn died.
Both of them
Um,
are now dead.
mhm,
Yeah, but she died first. My mom died first.
mhm,
She was concerned about them because, she knew that, with their condition,
mhm,
somebody would need to be around to be a caretaker.
mhm,
And she was very worried. And on her dying bed,
mhm,
I gave her that information that I'm going to conform to her.
mhm,
It's my policy that I am going to be there. I think it was my purpose. This is
mhm,
why God made me how He made me,
mhm,
right? So that I can be there, and I think that is my purpose, right? To support them.
mhm,
And I promise her that if should anything arise, if I have one grain of rice, I will
mhm,
never sit and eat that one grain of rice out and knowing that they are hungry. I'm
mhm.
going to share it with them. Mhm. So,
Wow.
whatever it is, wherever it takes me, I'm going to ensure because even in my calls, because after my mother died, the older
Mhm,
children had to take care of each other and they took care of their uncle and aunt,
mhm,
because all like Dasley was suffering with asthma before he died, and it was the same asthma that caused his death because he took in with the shortness of breath, and this time by the time she took him down to hospital, he died on his way. Right?
mhm,
So whenever he took him with any breathing problems, she would have to go call a taxi, my eldest daughter,
mhm,
and she had a lot of run-ins with him because at one time he was getting these attacks very often. So those older children, they would took care of them when I
mhm,
was away, like working in Omai, right?
mhm,
Because by the time I went to work at Omai, they were actually big and working. So
mhm,
they were able to take care.
mhm. So it seems that what you're telling me is that your children and the other nieces and nephews took up the mantle and helped to deliver the promise that you gave to your mom, Goosebumps, because there's nothing like sister love. We're talking about love a village. There are all kinds of love. And in previous recordings, people would have heard me talk about the kinds of love that existed in the village. I know that kind of sister love because me and my siblings, we are tight. You know, I'm not going to eat and they don't
Mm-hmm.
eat and things like that. So I'm so happy to hear this story. And I don't know how often I get to hear stories in the village about how siblings relate to other siblings that have special needs. So, one of the reasons I asked you to come on to talk about this special love, when I thought about love in the village, I thought about who are the people that stood out for me. And it came to me, Jylin and Ozzy. Who are Jylin and Ozzy? Because for me, I knew of Jylin going to Ozzy's place, this beautiful young girl. She got your figure and everything. She clean skin, as we just say. She teeth
Mm-hmm.
healthy. I didn't know something. I didn't know Jalen had a disability at all. I knew that
Mm-hmm.
Ozzy had a disability because he had a, to me, what was a speech impediment. He would talk and you can't understand much of what he's saying, but he's communicable
Right.
if you pay attention. But he was well
Mm-hmm.
dressed, good physique. I never see Ozzy disheveled, dirty, or anything.
And his
As
shorts in his
far,
pants with a belt,
oh,
and yeah.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
nice jeans and so sit on, he nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing him by Brother Lou area when we were living at Brush Dam. There was this lady
Brother
called
Lou was
Aunt. Mhm.
Brother Lou was his uncle.
Okay, because Brother Lou lived with a lady. I think it was
Yes.
his sister. It could be, I'm not sure. Brother Lou was kind of Portuguese mix.
Yes,
And
right.
he had this sister, I think it's his sister, and she seemed to have what I think is Parkinson's now. She used to shake or something like that.
Oh.
And Ozzy lived with them. And
Mm-hmm.
after a while, this house that they lived in was like 4 feet off the ground. But then
Mm-hmm.
Ozzy enclosed the downstairs. And next thing you know, I see Jylin ducking in there with Ozzy. And I say, thing up, yeah. Them two is a frenzy and so on. And Brother Lou, and as far as I knew, Brother Lou was a carpenter and man of all trades, and Ozzy was that too. So you
Mm-hmm.
know them personally. Could you share with us when this love started? How this love happened? What
Well, when the
ensued?
actually started, I was still young.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I was about 10 or 12, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But all I know at that age that they were boyfriend and girlfriend, and
Mm-hmm.
he would come there, and the two of them would be sitting down and they talk and whatever. And I remember one time he was staying too later than the time, and my mother came out to him and tell him, you got to go now. She got to
Mm-hmm.
come upstairs. Right?
Okay.
So my mom tell him to go home and he can come back tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I know he used to come steady. I don't know when she used to go there, but I
Mm-hmm.
knew when he came home by us, and he
Mm-hmm.
would come and they would sit down and talk and that kind of thing. And then eventually, I don't know what was the discussion with my mother or who,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, gave him the permission, and he came and he was living there with her. Right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So he was living there with
They cooked together, or your mother cooked for them? How did it work
my
out?
mother cooked one pot cooked for everybody. So he was a part of that So my
Mm-hmm.
mother cooked, or if she cooking, she cooked the one pot and it's for
Mm-hmm.
everybody. So he would have a share. Mhm.
Right. Mm-hmm. So Jylene could cook and everything like you said before. She was very handy.
Right. Yeah, she can
Just
cook.
this.
Yeah, she cooks her own pot. Yeah,
Yes.
she cooks her
Mm-hmm.
because afterward when she moved on to I built a little house at the back of the yard, and
Mm-hmm.
there's where she lived. She was on her own and she cooking by
Wow.
herself. So she can go to the market. She would go buy her big fish because she love a big fish. She ain't want no too small fine. Them fish too fine. She ain't want no fine fish.
Fish. Mm-hmm.
She'll go to the market and she'll Annandale Market. She'll walk and go to Annandale Market and buy she
Mm-hmm.
big fish and come home, and she like to cook big and
Mm-hmm.
eat big because they were big eaters too. Hmm? While me would be the pinchy one because I pinch just a little, but they
Yeah.
were big eaters. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of big fish. That was what he
Mm-hmm.
was into. Not so much a
Yeah.
meat, fish.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what blew me away with this story is that your mom gave them permission. Village life sometimes, the abled people, the mother would beat the daughters or warn them, don't bring money, don't bring buy hey. The instructions are so negative at times. The dominant
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
narrative of raising a girl child. Um, but then your mom, knowing that she has a disability, she encouraged them. She watched over them.
Yes.
She had them under
Mm-hmm.
her roof. That way she can
Mm-hmm.
protect her daughter. Because you see, in
Right.
this world,
Exactly.
in this
Yes.
world, people with special needs are the most vulnerable. some of the most vulnerable, sorry, elderly are vulnerable as
Mm.
well, and kids. But special needs people have a vulnerability like none other, it seems, because people can take advantage of them, sexually, physically,
Mm-hmm.
verbally, emotionally, especially if they
Mm-hmm.
can't express their needs and their desires. And the other thing that came to me was compassion. Compassion. You see, sometimes I look at these people with disabilities and I say to myself, don't they have a right to love? Don't they have a right to sex? Don't they have a right to social relations and things like that? But when I look at their love, they were permitted their human rights to be
Mm-hmm.
together. And it seemed like he had a more challenging disability than she had, because
Mm-hmm.
you could hardly understand what he was saying. Um,
And
in my estimation, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not an expert.
and his mother, who was not, she's from Buxton, but
Okay.
she wasn't living in the village at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes she would, like a Sunday, she would
Mm-hmm.
come down to visit with him, and she would come home by us, and she would talk with my mother
Mm-hmm.
and him and Joylin, and she accepted the relationship even when I remember when they had the first child, the
Mm-hmm.
boy Anthony. They were taking the baby to somewhere in the East Bank she was living. They
Mm-hmm.
were taking the baby to see her, and
Mm-hmm.
I went along with them. So,
So,
and she
mm-hmm.
saw her grandson, and she was so elated because as he was her only child.
Wow.
Mhm.
So you
Right.
see,
So,
people,
mm-hmm.
they were babies. There was a baby and there were babies. So what ensued
Mm-hmm.
after that? So that you got this little house for Joylin, you built a house for her. That is such a good deed. I don't know. Wow, Gloria, hats off to you. You're an honorable sister. You build a little house for your sister. Wow, to protect her. That
I
is
I
awesome.
try as much as possible always to do good, and
Mhm.
I think as a result of that, I am so blessed in every way. You
Yes,
know,
yes, yes.
I am so blessed in every way.